Ellen McCauley at Pray It Out in Syracuse, New York. And you know, we're going to talk about mistakes, but before we talk about mistakes, I read this article and I thought it was very powerful about want to be happy and successful, try compassion. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but there's so many studies. You know, part of my office is mental health, and this came across my desk at work. This was a work article I received about how all these companies in the military are teaching the skills of compassion. Now, it's not to be confused with empathy. Empathy is where you say, I feel bad for what you're experiencing. Compassion, you actually do something about it. You know, I feel bad that I struggle with my weight, and I'm going to start a weight loss group so we can all work on it. I feel compassion towards people who have the same issues that I do. So it says you want to be happy and successful, try compassion. And I know that there are people who have experienced profound losses. They've lost a loved one, and they go to Francis' house, and they help the people there. That's compassion. They might feel bad and have empathy for people, but compassion is they actually go there and volunteer their time. So it just talks about a little bit on a compassion meditation where you mentally focus on someone that you love so much, your husband, your mother, your children, and then you take that same love and then you actually put it towards someone that maybe you're not feeling that compassionate towards. Maybe your boss, maybe someone you work with. And then you offer them those same feelings. And then the next day when you go to work, you do something about it. Even if they're not friendly towards you, you're friendly towards them. I just want you to think about action. Because action and compassion is the same thing. Then you're more compassionate towards yourself. You want to take care of yourself more. It prompts your brain to have a wider sense of what's going on, and it gives you access to more ideas on how to act. Sometimes if you feel threatened by someone's pain and you don't do anything about it, that isn't showing compassion. It's you sense someone's pain and you try to make it better. Happiness derived from compassion is sustainable. It sets a foundation for a stable mind, and you can take care of yourself better. And I just want to share that with you. And I know that we have a very compassionate group, but sometimes I feel you're not as compassionate towards yourselves, where you need to show that same love and say, I need to take care of myself so that I can be of better service to God and my fellow man. And now I talked about in the beginning how to identify and learn from your mistakes. It's never easy to admit you've made a mistake, but it's a crucial step in learning, growing, and improving yourself. Has anyone ever made a mistake where it comes to your diet? How about exercise? Now it's interesting. Is it a decision or is it a mistake? Oh my gosh, I made a mistake. I had a donut for breakfast. Is that a mistake? I think a mistake sometimes is having too many goals that aren't sustainable. A mistake might be to have a goal that says, I want to lose 50 pounds in 3 weeks. Not realistic. Let's talk about that. And Jean mentioned it earlier. There's a sense of shame that's combined with setbacks when attempting difficult things. And that's why so many people give up. You know, I can't do this. I'm ashamed of myself, so I'm just going to quit. I'm just going to quit. Sometimes if you make a mistake, you think you are a mistake. And then you know what? You extrapolate. Anyone else ever extrapolate? I stayed the same today, and I wasn't very happy about it. So, because I worked so hard this week. So I had asked Bob to put these Catholic Suns that I was behind in my bag. I said, honey, can you put these in my bag? I want to take them to work. So I went out in the kitchen, and there was no Catholic Suns in my bag. It's like 5:30 in the morning. I said, honey, where's the Catholic Suns? He's like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? They were missing. So then I'm starting, where's the Catholic Sun? I wanted them in my bag. It had nothing to do with the Catholic sons. It had everything to do with, I was a little frustrated, I'd worked hard, I'd exercised hard, and I stopped it dead in the tracks. And I said, you know what, I'm not going there. And you know where they were? In the pray it out box. Because that's where they belonged, in the pray it out box. But anyway, we found them. But the point is, we extrapolate. One thing happens, or you make a mistake, or this happens, and then your whole life's a piece of crap, right? You go, oh, why did that happen? I gained 2 pounds. My life is miserable. Nobody loves me. Everybody hates me. I'm going to eat worms. I'm going to just give up. That's what we do. And also, learning from mistakes requires 3 things. Putting yourself in situations where you can make interesting mistakes. If you never get out of bed, you might make a mistake and pick channel 3 instead of channel 5 on your TV, but what kind of mistakes are you going to make if you don't leave the house, if you don't try something new? I just did a new website for our Office for Aging, and it was unveiled yesterday, and it was a huge success, and I had never done it before. I made a ton of mistakes in the test site, trying to figure out, how do I do this, how do I do that? Did I give up and say, I'm just going to quit, or did I learn from that and try to improve it? I think that's a goal. Having the self-confidence to admit them. I made a mistake. Some people are so amazed when you go, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I'm going to really try not to do that again. People are amazed when you just admit it. Or you say, I'm sorry, that was a mistake. I'm going to learn from that. And you be courageous about making changes. There's 4 kinds of mistakes. Stupid. Dropping your pizza on your neighbor's fat cat, poking yourself in the eye with a banana. I was once on a plane and we were on the tarmac and it was like freezing ice and they kept spraying it and I just knew I was going to die. And so then they came around and gave everyone a drink and to calm us down because we were on the tarmac forever. So I picked up the drink and it had a swizzle stick in it and I stuck it right in my eye. This is before I wore glasses. So was it a mistake? Yeah. Was it a stupid mistake? Yeah, but it was a very bad situation. A simple mistake. You run out of beer at a party because you didn't anticipate the number of guests. That's simple. Involved. Eating fast food for lunch every day, especially when you're on a diet, is that a mistake? Is that a choice? Running late all the time, is that a mistake? Is that a choice? We need to really think about that. And then there's complex mistakes, like, a relationship that fails or a friendship that fails. There's so many different variables in there. Is it really a mistake, or did this happen, that happen? It's complex. So, learning from mistakes means you're going to try and do things, and if you see if the mistakes are interesting. Like this guy was playing the trumpet in this orchestral composition, and the one thing overpowered the other, and it was too loud. That's a interesting mistake. This one, I got an Oreo stuck in my underwear. That's really not an interesting mistake. And perhaps it's happened to someone in the room before. You don't have to raise your hand if it has happened to you. But the kind of mistakes you make define you. The more interesting the mistakes, the more interesting the life. Did you ever think about that? If you have interesting mistakes, you have an interesting life. I mean, I was making some mistakes designing this website, but that's kind of interesting, isn't it? Did I say I got an Oreo stuck in my underwear? No. And I didn't. I did not get an Oreo in my underwear. Involved mistakes. All right. It's either a habit or your nature if you keep making the same mistakes again and again and again. If you lose 2 pounds one week and the next week you gain 2 pounds and the next week you lose 2 pounds, is that a mistake? I really think sometimes we need to think, is it habit? Is it our nature? What are we doing? What are we learning from this? So this is why learning from mistake often requires involving other people. And you got to be careful who you involve. Like if I said to Bob, this happened to me and blah, 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 and I got that whiny tone, oh, this happened, he'd be like, it wasn't your fault. you are innocent of this. He always takes my side, always. But if I call my mother and I say to her, Mom, this happened, she'd be like, you stupid idiot. You made that mistake. You got to learn from that. What are you thinking? What are you talking about? You go to a person who's going to be honest with you. Whether it's your mother, maybe your husband's honest with you. Mine loves me so. Like I'll say to him, how does that outfit look? I always get my outfit out the night before. I go, how do you like it? And he's like, it's great, it's beautiful. So after maybe 20 years of that, I said, honey, you know, you've never once said it wasn't a beautiful outfit. Every day you say it's beautiful. So then a couple of days later, I probably told you this before, but I think it's hysterical. A couple of days later, I'm like, honey, how do you like that outfit? And he went, I'm not so sure about that outfit. Because he thought it was great, but he just wanted to give me the choice that he was kind of thinking about it. So, but you always go to someone who's going to be honest with you and get support. Now, when you're in the group and you're honest in a way that's loving and kind. If Bob's sitting there going, I don't know why I gained weight. I had a bag of Fritos. I had onion dip. I went to Wendy's 5 times. I went to Burger King. I think the table might say, I don't know why you gained weight either. Or they might say, you stupid idiot, you're eating all that fast food. But you need to talk to someone. If it's a friend, a counselor, I'm big on counseling. Talk to Father Jason. He's wonderful. He'll listen to you. Yay! And I'm going to stop right there, Bobby.